to Social Studies class. Happy Friday, and today the plan is to study two more model, excellent example citizens that we can learn from and people that made their communities better. So listen up to these stories, and then afterward I'm going to show you a small project that we're going to do to thank and remember these really important people from our history. All right, so the third citizen that made his community better that we're going to talk about is Cesar Chavez. And the title here says, Cesar Chavez helps farm workers. Cesar Chavez was born near Yuma, Arizona, and came from a poor family. When he was still young, Cesar and his family moved to California. As a teenager, he became a migrant farm worker to help his family. Migrant farm workers often had hard lives, and they worked long hours for very little pay. Often workers got sick or hurt because they had to use unsafe chemicals in machines. Cesar and his family also faced many hardships as farm workers. As a young man, Cesar wanted to help the farm workers. In 1962, he helped to start a group which became known as the United Farm Workers of America, or UFW. The UFW helped farm workers ask for better pay and safer working conditions. At that time, Cesar lived in the town of Delano, California, and there were farms all around the town. At first, the farm owners there refused to listen to the UFW, so Cesar told all the workers to stop picking the crops. Stopping work in this way is called a strike, and Cesar hoped that the strike would make the owners pay more attention to the workers. The owners still didn't listen, and Cesar took another step. He asked people to stop buying what the farm sold, and this is called a boycott. It took Cesar and the UFW 5 years, but many of the farm owners finally gave in, and they agreed to pay the farm workers more and also promised to make the work safer. Cesar Chavez helped to make Delano a better place for farm workers, and he went on to help farm workers in many other places around the country for the next 30 years. Cesar helped them get better pay and safer ways of working. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that short story about Cesar Chavez. And two of the things that I really admire about Cesar Chavez is his use of a strike and a boycott. And remember, a strike from the reading we just learned is when workers decide they're not going to work until they get better pay or better, more safe conditions for working. And then a boycott is everyone working together to decide not to buy something that they think was made unfairly or to protest something. And strikes and boycotts are amazing because they are a way to really make true change in our community without being violent about it and without people getting hurt. And so strikes and boycotts have been used so many times throughout history to really make our community better, and a great example of that was Cesar Chavez. The fourth person we're going to talk about is actually a child when she did all these great things, and her name is Ruby Bridges, and she's one of my favorite model citizens, and I know she's one of your favorites because many of you talked about her for your projects during Black History Month. So let's learn about Ruby Bridges right now. Ruby Bridges helps African Americans. In 1960, Ruby Bridges was 6 years old and ready to start first grade. When she did, she would make history. Ruby lived in New Orleans, Louisiana, and at the time, Black students and white students in New Orleans went to different schools. Ruby would be the first African American to go to the white school near her home. Many white people were upset, and they wanted Black and white students to be kept apart. Still, Ruby's mother was hopeful, and she thought the school was a good one. And she thought that it was time that Black and white children went to the same schools. But Ruby's father was worried. "We're just asking for trouble," he said. Ruby's first day of school was frightening. And outside the school, crowds of angry people threw things at her and yelled that blacks didn't belong in their schools. Ruby thought that some of them might even hurt her. Inside the school, Ruby discovered that she was the only student in her classroom, and all the others had stayed home. For months, Ruby was the only student in her class, and still she kept coming to school. People started to see that she wasn't going away, and when she returned to school the next year, many students had returned to their classes. Ruby made it easier for all children in New Orleans to go to good schools together. As an adult, Ruby helps people in other communities too, and she talks to children and adults about her experience and how we can learn from it today. Wow. That story about Ruby Bridges is probably my favorite among the 4 that we read. And the reason for that is because she was so young when she did something so great. So you guys are in 3rd grade. Ruby Bridges did this in 1st grade. So I think an awesome lesson about Ruby Bridges is that even children, no matter how young, can truly make a change, and they can inspire people to make their communities better. So imagine how brave Ruby Bridges must have been to be the first, or one of the first, black students to go to a school when it seemed like a lot of the white parents and white people did not want her there. She thought she could get hurt. She had to be escorted there by police. So imagine how scary that would be at such a young age, especially in 1st grade. And not only did she do this when she was young, but she never stopped trying to make her community better. She spoke out, and she continued to be a force for good when she was a teenager and when she was an adult. So that's one of the reasons why I think Ruby Bridges is so cool. All right, so check it out. Because these people were so amazing, I think it's only fair that we do something to remember them and to honor them today, and it's not going to take us that long. So let's thank them in our own way. All right, so here's how this works. Once you cut out the material that you're going to write on, again, I think good ideas for this could be cardboard or construction paper, or if you don't have that stuff, just a piece of white paper is fine. But I think cardboard is kind of cool. You're going to pick the person that inspires you the most out of the 4 people we just talked about. So it's got to be Clara Barton, Rosa Parks, Ruby Bridges, or Cesar Chavez. So pick a story or a person that you really found inspiring, and you're going to write a short plaque to honor them and thank them. So I'm going to write mine now. I will show you what I wrote as an example, and then you're going to do this too, and then we're going to find a cool spot to hang it up so we can remember them and thank them for the next couple days. Alright guys, so I just finished the plaque that I wrote for Ruby Bridges that I'm going to hang up on my wall. And basically what you want to do when you write this plaque is say something about their life, about how they made their community better, and then maybe thank them. So I will read you what I wrote about Ruby Bridges, and that might give you an idea about some of the things that you could write about your model citizen that you picked. So I wrote, "To Ruby Bridges, we applaud your bravery and determination. Thank you for showing us that no matter how young, we can change the world. Through your actions, you taught us that people from all races deserve to learn, and that the best learning happens when we are side by side. You made the world more fair and more beautiful than you found it. And for that, you are a hero." So you can write something kind of like that about your person, and then after that, all you have to do is hang it up. Nice job today, everybody. I'm really excited to see what you come up with. If you'd like to share with me what you wrote and what your plaque looks like, please send me a picture either through Google Classroom or on a private dojo message, and I will look and read what you wrote. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you back here on Monday next week. Bye, guys.